this video, I'm going to share with you all the dividends, interest, and cashback that I received during the month of February. Now, as you can see, that's a kind of a different setup than I usually have, as we're actually traveling. We're right now in Vilnius, staying in a nice Airbnb. It's a Japanese Airbnb in Vilnius, which is interesting, but yeah, quite nice. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the setup, but I didn't want to miss making the video for you guys. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's start off by looking at my dividends that I got in the month of February. Now you can see I'm using GetQuinn for this because here I basically have all my various brokers that I connect with that, and it makes things easier to stay on top because I use interactive brokers, I use Trading212, I have Trade Republic, so many different brokers. So here I can really track them easily all in one app. As you can see right off the bat, actually February is the lowest month of the whole year for me in terms of dividend income, and it was quite measly with only $58. So yeah, that is very little compared when I go down to January where I got 98, and next month will actually be very attractive. If I go ahead, it will be $149 already. So yeah, I mean, 58 is really not impressive, but that's the thing with dividend investing, right? It fluctuates month on month unless you only have monthly paying dividend stocks, because most stocks actually pay on a quarterly basis. So that's natural that it fluctuates. And if I go for the full year, you can see right away, let me see, right now I'm close to $1,400. So that's really not too bad. I'm getting there, but yeah, that's normal that you have the fluctuation month on month. And when you can see the trend year over year, it's definitely on an upward trajectory, which I'm really happy with. So going back into February, you do see some of the stocks paying twice. That's just because different brokers received the dividend at different times, slightly delayed. See, Apple, I have the 3 times that I got paid, but it's actually only been paid once by Apple, but I received it in different brokers. But Apple, the dividend is so little that honestly, what I'm getting over here, a couple of cents, it's really not worth mentioning, to be honest. And I'm not actively investing much into Apple anymore. Then a big one was obviously Blackstone for me. It's probably been one of my best performing stocks so far, even though recently they came down in price. Then there's Agree Realty, one of my favorite REITs that I have. They pay me a monthly dividend. So that's really nice. It's still a tiny amount, but I'm still starting to build a bigger position in them. Now I'm getting $3 on a monthly basis. So yeah, hopefully as I go along, that number will only continue to increase. Then we have Morgan Stanley. That's a quite substantial position which I have in there. $17 I got from them, and they pay me on a quarterly basis. And again, Morgan Stanley in recent times, they have come under a little bit of pressure, so the stock price went down a little bit. But as a long-term dividend growth investor, I'm not so concerned with the short-term swings. That's normal, right? We had difficult times, obviously, with a high interest environment that impacts all the real estate companies, deal-making companies like Morgan Stanley and others, Blackstone, BlackRock, right? Because to make deals, you need cheap financing, and in times we're in, it's not cheap. So that's why they come under pressure, but I'm happy because I can scoop up more of those shares. So I'm really happy with that actually. And then again, obviously, we come to my biggest individual holding that I have in my whole portfolio, which is Realty Income. That's another real estate investment trust based in the US. They do have some overseas real estate as well, but mostly concentrated in the US. And they pay me now a monthly dividend of $20. Not so long ago, I only got $5. So month after month after month, I'm increasing my position. And, it's still a tiny amount, right? $20. But you can see that number really picking up consistently. Now I'm getting around a 6% dividend yield, which is really not shabby when you think about it. And yeah, I'm quite happy with this. And then lastly, I also got AbbVie, another sort of pharma company in a way. They pay me $2.5. And it's a small position that I have. I don't have a big position in them. The dividend yield is not that high, I believe around 3%. And hopefully I'll be able to increase that position in the future. But overall, a slow month, as it is with dividend investing, you have to actually look at the annual dividend income, not month by month. It's nice to look at it, but ultimately anyways, I reinvest these dividends right away. It's not like I live off those. Hopefully one day I will be. My goal is to have a 6-figure dividend income one day, and then I can obviously live from that. But for now, whatever dividend I get, usually I right away reinvest. And of course, you might be wondering why I display all these currencies in dollars, because most of the stocks that I own are actually dollar-based stocks. So if I show it to me in euros, some months I look like a hero because the stocks went up, and some months they go down, even the stocks went up. So in order to get rid of the exchange fluctuation, I just want to see it in dollars because I buy in dollars. That way the exchange rate is not part of the equation, and I can see the real stock performance that I'm getting from my dividend stock. So I think it's a good way. If you invest mostly into euro stocks, then keep it euro, right? So I think it's important to look at it in the native currencies that you're investing in. It just makes more sense. With this, let's move to some of the interest income that I made in the month of February. Starting off with Lightyear, which is one of my favorite brokers. If you haven't signed up to them yet, use my link in the description below and you'll get $10 worth of free stock. So nothing to lose there. So you can see right now, I have mostly euros sitting over here where I get 3.25% interest. The account is protected up to 20K. and I got 53 euros in interest. So honestly, not too shabby for just having my money there. It's fully protected up to 20,000, so I sleep peacefully at night. Obviously, if you had dollars or pounds, it would be way higher interest. But again, right now I'm holding quite a bit of euros because we are in the process of building up our apartment here in Europe. So in that way, I need some cash and I need to keep it somewhere and might as well put it to work. Why not? 53 euros, actually more than I got in dividends when you think about it for last month. It just shows you the dividend is for the long term, because those interest rates, always keep in mind, while it is tempting to keep all your money there, these high rates won't persist forever, right? Eventually they will come down versus your dividend yield, because their dividend increases over time and then the compounding starts. Here the interest is arguably not going to stay that high for so long. Then we move to Trade Republic, another one of my favorite brokers. And here I received last month an interest of 161 euros. So that's actually my biggest position, because the fact is it's a German licensed bank. They protect your funds up to 100,000 euros and you get paid interest up to 50,000 euros, 4%. So that's really quite attractive. And yeah, honestly, 161 euros just for keeping my money there, it's really not too bad. But once again, this percentage might change in the future. They have increased it recently, which is nice, but I'm pretty sure in the next couple of months, that percentage will also come down. That's why I'm benefiting from it right now, because my money anyway sits around there idly. I put my money to work, but long term, investing your money into either S&P 500 or dividend stocks or anything that produces money in the long term is way better than just having it in your bank. Right now, it's attractive, but long term, you have to understand that this rate won't persist forever, because also keep in mind the inflation is high, right? In many cases, I'm actually just keeping my money neutral, with 4% interest. Actually, I'm just about beating inflation. So I'm not really gaining much here. So, but again, it's a nice way to put your money to work, especially if you have an emergency fund, because I always recommend before you start investing all your money, have an emergency fund set aside, because you never know what may happen. So that's good. And that money you can set aside in an account that works for you. So that really makes sense. And honestly, I really love Trade Republic. They've been really good for me. I feel very comfortable with them. They're fully licensed in Germany. So if you want to sign up with them, use my link in the description below and you'll get a free share to get you started. Then we move to Trading 212, which in recent time really became one of my favorite brokers. I've been using them more and more. And you can see my account balance over here now at 25,000. Previously, when I started, it was just 2,000. So I shifted more and more funds over there and really enjoyed the process. And now that they added the feature that you can actually transfer your shares to another broker, that's so powerful. Always keep that in mind. The ability to transfer your portfolio to another broker, super, super important. And they're now in the process of rolling this out, which is great. And yes, as you can see over here, last month, I earned 67 euros because the interest they pay is 4.2%. So that's really quite high, actually, when you think about it. And honestly, yeah, I'm really happy with this. I wouldn't put even more money in that because I like to diversify, because you never know what happens. Even some of those protect your money up to 20,000, right? But in case they would default, obviously I would get my money back eventually. But if I had all my money with them, it will take longer. I don't have the money. I don't have access to the money. So I'm really happy to diversify across different brokers and apps. So honestly, 4.2%, once again, if I would go into dollar, I would get 5.1%, right? I have a couple of dollars here lying, but in this case, not too much, because most of my dollars I put to work right away and invest stocks with it. So obviously I don't have too much lying around. I have mostly euros. As I said, I need those euros to invest into the apartment that we're just buying. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this. And then we move to Revolut, another app that I absolutely love. I use it as my daily banking app of choice, especially for exchanging money when you travel. It's absolutely perfect. I love it. And I've also recently started using their saving functionality, because now I'm getting 3.95% on my euros. The interest is paid to my account every day. I get now 2.68 euros. So that's really nice. So you can see here, in total, I got last month from my Revolut 73 euros on my euro balance. So really not too shabby, once again, just for keeping my money there. So really love that. And here I also have some dollars, because here I'm actually getting 5.4% on my dollars. And what I do now is that I take my euros, I convert them on Revolut, basically exchange free, because they get really amazing exchange rate. And I'm on the Ultra plan, so there's no fees up to any amount. So that's really cool. And then from here, I can just send it to Interactive Brokers, which is my investment broker of choice. And there I can buy with my dollars, my US stock. So it really makes sense. So while I park my money, obviously I want to get some interest on it, because on Interactive Brokers, I don't really get any interest. And sometimes I used to send a big amount just sitting there. And then every week I buy a small amount. And that way I was basically wasting money away. And while it sits here waiting to be invested, I get some interest, which is awesome. And you can see here, last month, all in all, I got almost $18 just from a little US dollar holding that I have over there. So honestly, once again, not too bad. If I kept it all in my Interactive Brokers account, I would get 0 for it. So it really makes sense. Really think strategically where you keep your funds, how you can maximize your money while it's waiting to be invested or used for something else. because quite often you'd be surprised, you just keep money sitting around. Recently, I found some cash that I had somewhere else in my safe, and I thought, oh my God, if I had invested that cash in one of those accounts, it would have accumulated already quite a bit of money over the time. So just make sure to put your money to work. And lastly, I opened a bank account in Dubai, which is really cool because I started my company there as well. So yeah, this is really nice. You have a personal account and a business account. So my personal account, I also set up a bit of money over there right now. And you get also some nice savings on your dirhams, which is the local currency over there. So you can just go into the savings account over here. And you can see if I click into this right now, I'm actually getting 5% interest on all my dirhams that I have, and I can withdraw it anytime. So that's really cool. As you can see over here, last month I earned 66 dirhams from them. So that's really nice. That's a proper licensed bank. So I feel really good about that. I can withdraw it anytime whenever I need more in my current account. I can just click on button, it withdraws it straight in my other account. And then with my Apple Card, I can just use it, spend it, and I love it. So while I'm away now traveling in Europe, that money works for me, which is really awesome, and I love it. And the cool thing is I'm getting now 1% cashback on every transaction with my card in Dubai. And hopefully soon I can apply for the credit card where I get 2% cashback on every single transaction. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. Love it. And lastly, let's talk about the cashback that I got in the month of February. With this, we go back to Revolut, which is obviously the card I mostly use. And when you can see over here, cashback earned to date, I mean, that's 755 euros just by using my Revolut Pro card with my Ultra plan. I mean, really not too shabby when you think about it, but obviously that's all-time value. So if I go into last month, you can see I got cashback of 95 euros almost. I mean, that's crazy. The previous month, 130 euros. Now, it's really nice on the one hand side to get that money. On the other hand, think about it. Obviously, I had to spend quite a bit of money to get that, right? So it's a double-edged sword. It's not something to be proud of, but at the same time, I spent that money anyways, right? If I wouldn't have used my cashback card, that money would have gone to waste. And obviously, I'm in the process now of setting up the company, buying real estate. So different expenses. That's not usual months. Usual months, I spent around 40 to 45 euros I got in cashback. So that's significantly higher than normal. But still, right? I mean, that's in a way for me free money, which otherwise would have gone to waste, or some of the merchants would have kept that money. So I'm really happy getting that 1.2% whenever I use my Revolut Pro card based on my Revolut Ultra plan. And as I mentioned before, with my UAE bank account, which I started spending halfway through the month, I also earned a bit of cash back. You can see that's around 60 dirhams, which equals around 15 euros. So once again, that's 1% without any plan. That's basically the minimum that you get in cash back if you sign up with a debit card. And hopefully once I get my credit card, I'll get 2% on every transaction. I mean, of course, certain transactions are excluded, like if you pay for your rent, let's say, and your utility charges, but most other expenses are included. So that number will definitely be higher. Once I'm based in the UAE and travel a bit less, then that really begs the question, do I still need Revolut Ultra for the high cashback card, or can I scale down to, let's say, premium, still get some of the benefits? And yeah, that's something to think about for future videos, but for now, I'm really happy with those two options that I have. So last time some of you mentioned, Kai, why don't you put the total at the end of the video so it's easier to see? So I've done the math for you, and adding it all up, it basically came for the month of February to 482 euros in terms of passive income, right? From dividends, interest, and cashback. So honestly, really not too shabby when you think about it, close to 500 euros just from that. And still, in many ways, obviously my dividends are still tiny, just about 50 euros I got last month. So the majority of my income in that way right now is from the interest, right? On top of it, the cashback was exceptionally high. I hope not to have such a high cashback every single month, unless I soon go to the 2%, which then obviously naturally will be higher. So that will be good. But yeah, overall, I do believe in the future, the interest part will come down, but at the same time, my dividend component will grow, because as I invest more into dividend growing stocks, I will also get higher dividend income. Hopefully this year I'll still be able to get the $2,000 annual dividend income, which would be my target for this year definitely, because last year I just hit 1,000, so this year 2,000, and I hope to double that once again in the next year. So yeah, that's my target. Let's see where I get there. But at the same time, as I think the interest rates will come down, so will the interest earnings, and plus obviously eventually I will spend all those euros lying around onto the apartment, so that component will get less, cashback a little bit less, but the dividend income, that will grow in the future. And obviously on top of this, I get the rental income from my 2 properties in Dubai. Plus, of course, the income from all my work activities, YouTube related activities. So this is my main bread and butter to say, but this is a nice bonus. But this just shows you, if you put your money smartly to work, it can really work in your favor. And that's why I'm a big advocate. Don't just keep your money locked away in your safe at home or under the pillow, which probably wouldn't be the safest way anyways, but put it to work, make the most out of the available tools and apps that are there. And that's why I really recommend you check some of the links in the description down below. Whenever you use any of my links below, you get a free share or welcome bonus. So why not benefit from it? Next up, check out this video here. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.